Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk. This is your weekly news show hosted by myself. Alongside me to guide you lot through these stories is Aaron and Adam, double A, like the battery. How are we doing, lads?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic. How are you, Aaron?
Yeah, good man.
Good. Been busy today? Both been working?
No, I've been off today. Extra long weekend.
Oh, you've both been off, have you? You lucky cunts.
Yeah.
I've been in work myself.
Head this Tuesday.
I know. Nice one for that, lads. We're slowly reaching the end of the transfer window, guys. 220 million spent so far by Man United. Could there be a late bid for Frankie de Jong? He's currently in England with Memphis Depay for Donny van de Beek's wedding, allegedly. We're not sure what's going on there, but we're going to dive into that story. Also, Cristiano Ronaldo has found a club, apparently. But will we get a player in replacement for him? Maybe someone like a Victor Osimhen. We're going to touch on that. Plus, Ralph Rangnick has been talking to the media about Manchester United, and we've got a few other topics that we want to discuss. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video for more content like this. But what I want to do is, before I dive into the transfer stories, lads, I'm going to do some quick fire, as always, but related kind of to the transfer window. So the first question I want to ask you both is, who is Manchester United's greatest signing ever?
Eric Cantona.
When you think of kind of like players who have come in, made the impact, like the obvious one, as Aaron said, was Cantona. And like you're going into the modern day kind of era, everything went into the Prem. We ended up winning the Prem then, and it was its first season, I think it was. We hadn't won it year before, so I'd probably argue Cantona too. Definitely one that will pop out of my head. I'm just picking two. You have Nemanja Vidic too. I think was a great signing
in January as well.
January too, yeah. Him and Everett, I think, came in the same window. It was, and then that's half our back four. It was it nearly 10 years, and probably a very successful period as well.
Yeah, we've got Vincent Bullock in the chat saying hi, guys. Hello to you, Vincent, a regular. Big up yourself. Go on, Aaron, sorry.
I was going to say, you could probably argue Roy Keane, because he kept the United standard for so long. He kept the machine running for what, like 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, an Irishman that didn't say Roy Keane. Ooh, interesting. And the price we're going for as well was 2 mil or $1 million from Nottingham Forest, was it?
Yeah,
was it a record at the time?
I think so. And then I think Cantona was only $1 million from Leeds as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, two very good shouts there. My one is Wayne Rooney, because I think what he's done for United. I know it was quite a heavy price tag at the time. I think it was like 25 mil or 30 mil, was it, for a teenager? Quite heavy, but yeah, I think what he done for United and what he went on to do, and what he's, just as a player, I think Rooney, in my personal opinion. Who do you think has had the best transfer window this summer?
Oh.
When you look
at Forest, stay up.
17 deals or whatever they've done. But if you look at clubs around Europe, it could be anyone like a Nottingham Forest. It could be, dare I say it, Barcelona. It could be, and anyone you think of. You looked at the deals they've done, you think, you know what, that's fucking good business. That.
Arsenal, maybe.
Okay.
Or
Why?
Tottenham.
I'm gonna pick at you for that.
Arsenal, they desperately needed a striker. They needed an established striker for ages. Aubameyang, obviously, they had like 1 or 2 good seasons. Jesus is someone that they can probably get the best out of for a while. But then Tottenham, Conte is just moulding that into a perfect Conte team. Like.
And do you know what, Aaron? I looked at that Tottenham team, and I saw signings like Perisic, and I thought, nah, they're done, dusted. That's a shit signing. And I've watched Perisic for Tottenham, and he's done pretty good for him. Like, I can't lie. So, yeah, they have made astute signings. I'll agree with that.
I'm thinking of Chelsea. They got rid of 2 out of the 3 back 4, and they signed 2 players in Koulibaly and was it Fofana? Sterling. They have now up front. I think if they get a striker, I think they've done really well.
Yeah, and they just signed Gvardiol from Leipzig, I think it is. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. Paying 90 million euros next season. They're loaning him to Leipzig for a season and then paying 90 mil next season.
Centre back.
Yeah. Croatian centre back.
I recognise him from Ultimate Team.
Yeah, and the news is going to say that. Yeah, the Gvardiol. But if you actually watch him, like in I was going to say real life, that sounds weird. But yeah, if you watch him real life, he's quality. So that's a good signing for them, I'd say. That Todd Bowley's just like fucking spreading the cash, mate. He's not afraid.
So how much have they spent on centre backs then?
Oh God, I don't even know how much Koulibaly was. It 40 million, something like that.
Yeah.
I think. They spent 40 million on Sterling. They spent 80 million on Fofana, and then another 90 million on this Gvardiol, whatever his name is.
Do you know
90
what?
million euros.
It sounds crazy when you say Sterling for 40 million. That's actually a bargain.
I would have took him. I said at the time it might have been controversial, but I think for the balance, having Sterling, just because he got that runner in behind, he's very like runs that like causes threats. I think he would have been a good signing. He's obviously played for Liverpool and City though, so it's one of them. It's like
yeah, we didn't have to complete 40 million.
Yeah. Yeah, moving on. The next question, or the last question, sorry, I wanted to ask. Who do you think's in the transfer market over the past years the best value for money? And you can't say Dan James.
Best value for money signing.
Gallo.
Oh God. God.
Ours or anyone?
Anyone.
Okay.
I'll let you sit on that one for a little bit.
Best value for money.
People in the chat get involved as well. Best value for money in the transfer market. Who do we think?
How long ago? This year, do you mean? Sorry.
The past couple of years. You could have the last 10 years, let's say.
There's what, 20 million for RVP number 20 count?
Yeah.
20 million gives you a title.
Yeah, I had Van Persie in my head, to be honest, for value for money.
Looking back at it now, but I suppose you got to argue at the time. I was going to say Ronaldo to Real Madrid, because imagine if he'd have gone in today's market. But
yeah,
we could argue the times were different then.
We probably would have gotten a lot less than what we should have with the way our.
No, we don't let him go on a free.
Anyway, yeah, probably.
Do you know
let him go on a free, yeah.
Do you know what's funny about that, Aaron? I remember obviously because we went high school together. I remember being in PE with Mr. Woodcock. I don't know if you remember him. And I remember it on the radio. It came through and it said Cristiano Ronaldo has signed for Real Madrid, and I was just like, no! I was like, absolutely gutted, man. So yeah, two great shots there, Van Persie and Ronaldo. Let me know in the comments section as well. Right, let's dive into some news stories. I want to start off with this Frankie de Jong story. Sky Sports, Seth has said, I spoke to somebody close to Van der Beek, and he said he's not getting. Why did you laugh at him, by the way?
No, I'm laughing because Mr. Woodcock, is that the one that was missing half a finger?
Yeah. Oh no, I think so. I can't remember.
No,
probably.
That was Mr. Hulse.
Yeah. Adam's just like, I have no idea what he's going on.
Did he lose it in a woodcutter or something?
Yeah. I can't remember, but I know what you're on about. One of them had a missing finger anyway. Can't segue from that to de Jong, so I'm just going to carry on with the story. Sky Sports Seth said, I spoke to somebody close to Van der Beek, and he said he's not getting married today. I don't want to go down conspiracy road, but could there be a very small chance, a last-minute bid for Frankie de Jong? Does anyone think any kind of percentage whatsoever?
No.
Not even one? Not two? Like, jar open, door a little bit?
The amount we spend so far, can you see them honestly spending more? I think there's talk of one more after this, but it depends on the outgoings, I think. Of course, I'd love to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I think the quality of him in midfield with Casemiro and then either Bruno or Eriksen beside them would be massive for us. We said it'd be arguably up there with City's is the best in the country, and you can nearly argue in Europe. Then it could be one of the top ones in Europe. But I just feel like the saga's gone on too long. I think they've kind of dusted their hands off and said with the bullet and yeah. Oh, God, literally, sorry. As I say about dusting the hands off his knees.
That's it now. Set me off. Well, that was going to be my next question to yourself, Aaron. We've already spent obviously 200 million, which is probably a record for us. Is there any chance we'll spend any more at all, do you think?
I know I've kept saying it, but I still think Memphis could come through the door.
No, he loves Memphis this one, mate.
I swear.
He's got him on the shirt.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping.
Yeah, please.
But now I just feel like obviously that'll hinge on whether Ronaldo stays or leaves. But apart from that, now I don't see anyone else coming through.
Okay, then if not Frankie de Jong, would we bring in another midfielder? Because I keep hearing we're going to get a right back. So I know we're in talks with Serginho Dest. And then if we sanction that, then we can send Wan-Bissaka to West Ham on loan. Or I think Southampton were interested as well. So that can be that came out in the last hour as well, saying that West Ham have been offered encouragement on the Wan-Bissaka side, so he could go out on loan to them. They pay his wages, and then we bring in Dest. But I keep hearing right back, another centre mid, Anthony and a goalkeeper. Anthony and the goalkeeper's obviously been done with Armand Dube in net. And then obviously we've got the right back and centre mid. So is he another midfielder? Like, obviously we're not going to go back in for Rabiot. I hope not. But is there anyone else in mind you think we can go get now on a cheap, let's say? I don't want to get one on a cheap, but it's United in it, so.
Nah, I don't see anyone. Ross Barkley.
Oh, no. Stay the fuck away from him. Fuck that. He's the most average player ever, honestly.
That was the next Rooney for a while, it was, as everyone was saying.
Yeah.
God.
I think the name keeps popping up, saying that you can get him cheap. Tielemans. I know a different type of player, but keeps popping up 25 million. I'm surprised nobody, especially like in Arsenal, have got him, or even Liverpool. I think he'd do a job at Liverpool right now. They need a midfielder too.
I did see today that apparently they were asking for 40 million.
It's still not bad though. It's not the worst in the world.
Yeah, but he's in his last year.
Yeah, well, I thought about this before because when I was thinking about midfielders, making me notes and stuff. I thought Tielemans is still available. I've been saying all summer, why has no one gone in for Yuri Tielemans? It makes no sense. He's a quality midfielder. It's significantly improved most teams. I thought at the time he was going for cheap, like 25, 30 mil. If Arsenal, if Leicester are offering, setting the price tag basically is 40 million, do you think clubs maybe are waiting right until the end? Because obviously, if he doesn't go now and doesn't sign a contract, he can go on a free next year, can't he? So do you think clubs are waiting until the very end? Then they'll just be like, right, 30 mil, take or leave. And then there's not really much room for negotiation because it'd be like the last day or whatever. Maybe that's the tactic. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, even if teams wait till January, you can sign a pre-contract agreement. So
yeah,
I don't know if teams are just going to wait it out.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's why someone hasn't gone in for him. But I would, if I'm Manchester United, because we didn't get De Jong, I would have brought in Casemiro and I would have brought in Tielemans next to him. And then you could have switched up. Then you could have had Casemiro, fucking motorbike right next to my house. I know. I could have had Casemiro and then Tielemans and Bruno switch up Eriksen, Casemiro. Like, it's nice rotation there. You're not having to put Scott McTominay in for a game. You know what I mean? Because if one of them get injured, then do you know what I mean? It's back to McFred. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Or it's back to playing Eriksen as a DM. So I do think we need another midfielder. Do you think we should not prioritize because it's the last couple of days, but are you surprised we're not going in for one?
It's tough because I think it's just the amount that we spent. We weren't expecting to spend this amount. I think the only reason we have put our hand in our pocket, probably into next year's budget as well, is because fan pressure, and it's all down to fan pressure. It's been, but it's one of the. I think we let how many midfielders did we let go? Was it 3, 4, and then you had I suppose you can put Mata in there. Mata,
Pogba, Mata.
Matic. That's 3 that I can think of, and then they want to sell Gardner.
If you're classing him as a midfielder.
No, I don't class him as a footballer, let alone a midfielder.
Who's that?
Lingard.
Oh God.
It's a TikTok star there. But
yeah.
I think we should be looking at bringing in someone. I think we need squad depth. You look at the likes of Man City; they have 2 players for every position nearly, and that's why they're being champions for how many times is it? 4 in the last
5.
4 in the last 5. And that's why, because of their squad depth. Mourinho said it a couple of seasons ago, Man City's B team will finish second. Then the reason Liverpool have kind of struggled this season is because they haven't had that depth. So
exactly.
you need that squad depth.
you're competing in 4 competitions. You've got a World Cup in November, December. Like, it's going to be a busy year. That it doesn't make sense to me that at all. But just the last bit on the De Jong midfield situation, Aaron. What about yourself? Are you surprised we're not gone in for another midfielder?
I am, but I'm not as well, because it was coming out that we had backups for like De Jong in Neves and Tielemans. I think that was just rumours. I don't even think we had a backup. It was just that was plan A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And Casemiro, I think that was just right. We've lost the last 2 games. Let's just try and pull something out, like a big name, a marquee signing.
Just to cover the cracks. I think they knew about De Jong for a bit, and it was like, how are we going to kind of save this? It's like, well, United fans have been crying out for a DM for so long. You go get an elite one, it'll shut a lot of people up.
Yeah, I think it got past the point where we could like come out and say that we've pulled out of the deal. Like we had to save face, so we had to say that even now it's coming out, or it's still not 100% ruled out if the opportunity comes up. But
I'm fucking open.
Just another one. Like, everyone forgets we've got Donny van der Beek. Like, why do you think that he doesn't play? Like, even under Ten Hag?
Honestly, I don't. It might be a bit cutthroat, but I don't think he suits the Premier League. I don't think he suits the Premier League. I'm just going to throw that out there in my personal opinion. I've seen glimpses from him that I'm like, right, okay, you can do a set job. I think his best qualities are arriving late in the box. He's an intelligent player, great passer. I just don't think he suits the tenacity of the Premier League. That's just my personal opinion.
Do you know what? I don't think like sometimes he's like nasty enough. You know what I mean? Like, I feel he's a bit lightweight.
And I think he'd suit someone like La Liga. If you go there and play for a Barcelona or something, I think he would suit that system.
Or in Italy.
Yeah, I think. But the Premier League, I don't know. What do you think, Adam?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I don't think he suits the league. He hasn't really taken to it at all. I know he hasn't had much of a chance. People will argue, but even in the times he hasn't really done much. The only occasion I can think of him popping up doing something was on Ollie's last game.
Ironically.
Yeah, ironically, Ollie's last game. That's the only time I can think. But if the man who kind of gave him his professional start, doesn't really trust him now,
exactly,
I think it could be.
That's what I don't get.
It. Curtain call.
Go on, so you're gonna go then, Aaron.
Nah, just saying, I don't like, if the one person we were all saying, oh yeah, we're gonna see like Donny play now and that, but even that he just doesn't play.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad player though. It just means sometimes players don't suit the league. I remember when we bought Varane and signing for United, it just didn't work out for whatever reason. And sometimes it just happens. You sign players, they're still quality level players, but they just don't suit the system, or they don't suit. Obviously, it's not the system because it's Ten Hag and he's played in the Ten Hag system before, but don't suit the league, whatever it is. I think he could still potentially. Why not get money for him if you're not going to use him? You could still get, I don't know how much for Van der Beek. He's probably lost a bit in price because he hasn't really played. So you're probably talking 20 to 25 mil for Van der Beek, or get the same price for McTominay and then go spend that on a midfielder.
On a midfielder.
Yeah, on a midfielder. I didn't even mean that. Anyway,
for Frankie de Jong.
Yeah, swap. Yeah, imagine. Barca would probably do that. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
The one of Harry Maguire.
Yeah, Maguire and Donny for Frankie de Jong. I'd take that 100%. I want to move the conversation on a little bit onto this next news story, talking about putting our hands in our pocket. The Antony deal is done and sealed. Medical has been successfully completed last night. Waiting on a visa sorted to get it signed, and then official statement will follow. But I think United have come out already and said basically it's signed. We had the big announcement today. Ajax also approved paperwork and contracts. The question I wanted to throw to you, and I'll go to you first on this, Adam. Do you think he'll play against Leicester or be on the bench?
I don't think he will. I don't think it'll be done in time. I think it's a bit too early as well. Like he won't have had a training session with the team beforehand, so you can't just chuck him in. I think it's unfair on the player for his debut as well, because that's what everyone will remember as well. We all remember Wayne Rooney's debut. We remember a lot of big name debuts, especially for our second or third highest signing in our club's history. So I think the Arsenal game, there'll be a lot of eyes on that. I think he should be maybe on the bench against Arsenal to
Yeah.
start off.
Because we all thought Casemiro would start, didn't we? In the last game, and obviously Ten Hag was like, no, kind of cautious with it. The front three has been going with, at the minute, is Rashford, Sancho, and Elanga. But when Anthony comes into the fold, Aaron, do you think it'll be Anthony on the right, Sancho on the left, and then Rashford up top? Because I still think Ronaldo's going to leave on deadline day. I think he's going to make a massive story of it. I think he's going to join Napoli, which we're going to touch on the next kind of bit. But yeah, how do you see the dynamic of that working?
Yeah, that's why I keep mentioning a new striker coming in, because Anthony's obviously going to play out wide Sancho, and I don't trust Rashford down the middle. And then I just see like that. There's just that weakness there in the middle. We'll be playing all winger type players through the middle, and they're not natural strikers. For me, Martial should be a bench player for now, and I feel like he has to prove that he can be a starter. I want to see consistency, like obviously with his fitness, with his performance and his attitude. So yeah, that's why I feel like a new one has to come in. But yeah, I just don't know how the dynamic's going to work for the front three until we get the striker situations sorted. Because if Ronaldo stays, then he'll slot in the middle, and I think Anthony will be massive for Ronaldo with being a creative playmaker. Yeah, but
exactly.
If it's Rashford, then I don't know, man. I don't really have much faith in him down the middle.
He seems to be a fan of him, though. I said to you on the show we did the other day, didn't we, Aaron, that he might as well go on Derek Chisora's most haunted, because he was a fucking ghost in that game, that last one. He went absolutely missing. And he only liked Rashford in that number 9 position when we were counter-attacking and his spacing behind. Like, that's why I played so well against Liverpool, because the gap between Alisson and Van Dijk was absolutely massive. So he just had space to exploit and use his pace. When there's people in front of him, he doesn't tend to know what to do. He can't play with his back to goal. He's not exactly great at that. So I actually liked the prospect I do of Martial in pre-season. I know it's only pre-season because a lot of players played well, and then the season started and it all went to shit. But could you see a world where we have Anthony Martial up top, Anthony on the right, Jadon Sancho on the left? Could be fluid, couldn't it?
I think you can talk about the two wide men as well. They can swap wings a bit as well if you want to provide more crossing into the box. We've seen Sancho on the left. Probably he's had his best games for us coming on to his right foot. So working from the left, Anthony, I can't wait to see just to have that Brazilian flair in our team. We haven't had that ready before, unless you count Fred's flicks against Atletico Madrid. But yeah, Martial, I like how he drops deep and really, his hold-up play. His hold-up play is fantastic. I think it's a lot better than Ronaldo's. One thing I think that really annoyed me about Ronaldo, I always say it, was he'd always find himself drifting out to the right and the left, and then there'd be nobody in the middle. But Martial seems to stay very central, and that's what I like. And then he kind of runs back into the midfield, and obviously the two wide men then counter attack. And we've seen it. Was it for the Rashford goal? It was, yeah. Kind of held the ball up into the midfield, drew the men, and then Rashford went through 1-on-1. But I think it's probably our best front line now going into the rest of the season. I don't think we're going to get another striker, even if Ronaldo goes. Maybe we won't get anyone. I know there's a few bits of talk about, is it Gakpo? Yeah, Southampton seem to be interested in him right now, but I think he's played through the middle once or twice as well in his career. So maybe it could be a deal there, cheap enough deal as well. But yeah, front three, I think Sancho, Anthony, and Anthony Martial is probably our best front three right now. Very fluid.
Two Anthony's up top. It's like Aaron and Adam in the chat. Double A's again, double A battery. Let us know in the comment section, guys, how you would see our front three lining up for the rest of the season. Obviously, barring injury and Martial stays fit and all that kind of jazz. Let us know who you would have up top, the front three. Sticking with forwards. Sorry, let me sort my mic out. I want to stay. We'll talk about the Cristiano Ronaldo news. This is coming out from Martin Odin Apollo. No idea who it is, but again, it's a new show. We have to report it. And he said Jorge Mendes has offered Ronaldo to Napoli on a free loan deal in the new proposal. Victor Osimhen will not be involved, and Ronaldo will head to the Maradona on a loan deal in which I have no idea what that says. Well, Partenope? Am I butchering that? The Partenope would not have to pay. Apparently, yeah. So a lot of stuff going on surrounding Cristiano Ronaldo at the minute. There was a lot of talk with this Osimhen deal, like Ronaldo goes there, Osimhen comes our way, and then we maybe have an obligation to buy next summer. I'm not sure what's going on with it. It's a bit back and forth at the minute. Have any of you seen Osimhen play before for Napoli, or have you seen bits of him at all?
Yeah, I've seen bits of him. Just in like Europa League, Champions League.
Yeah. Is he a 100 mil player? What do we say?
No, he's not. No, he's not a 100 mil player, but he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's very direct. From what I remember, he likes diagonal runs. He's strong. He's quick. He's a goal scorer, but he's not prolific. I don't think. He's never hit a 20-goal season. He's always double figures. He's consistently double figures, but he's never 20 goals.
Yeah.
And he presses. It's not like an amazing presser, but he'll press. You know what I mean? So he would fit the system, but I just don't think he's a 100 mil player.
But we would take him. Are we all in agreement that if Ronaldo was to go, because we all know he wants to leave, if he was to go to Napoli and let's say they offered us Osimhen the other way, would you take him at United? Both of you?
Yeah, because he's better than what we've got. So yeah.
With an obligation, though, do you think, to buy?
Depends how much. If it was 100 million, though.
Adam?
No, not with the obligation for 100 million. I think it's way too much. I read through a few things on Twitter. Apparently, that deal with him going to Napoli was very, very shady. Yeah. So I think they signed him for around 70 million or something like that. When at the time it should have been like a 30-40 million euro deal, but it wasn't. So there was a lot of shady stuff, and then covering other players and whatever. I think it was for balance and books or whatever. I can't really remember particularly what I read, but no, I wouldn't do it with the obligation buy, with an option to buy. If you want to buy him, then you buy him for the 100 million. Otherwise, he comes back to us then, because he could come to us, and I'm not going to say it, but just say his attitude stinks. Then he sits on the bench for the season. Why will we pay 100 million then the following year for that? We have to with the obligation. But then again, he could light up the place, end up for once hitting 20 goals a season. Who knows? And then you're like, okay, 100 million isn't that bad. They could have got 120 million for him, but obligation to buy, no. I think it's too risky.
Okay, interesting. And where do we stand currently on the Ronaldo situation? Where are your heads at with that? Because myself, I'm like, I think he just needs to go now. Ten Hag isn't starting him. He's starting, players who want to press. I know Rashford's been kind of slaughtered for it before, not tracking back as much. But it seems like the front three are being efficient in the way he wants them to play. Cristiano Ronaldo, he ruffled some feathers with that comment when he said, I'll reveal all in 2 weeks. Ten Hag was saying, well, I don't know what he's trying to achieve from that. There's been some kind of confliction there, and I think Ten Hag's like, right, we're ready to sell. Because initially at the start, we all said, well, he said, he'll score goals. He's in our plans. He's going to stay. Then very quickly in August comes around. He's like, oh, he's open to selling him now. So where are your heads up with that? I'll go to you first on Aaron.
I wanted him to stay. I really wanted him to stay, but now it's getting to the point where it's like I say, it might be better off if he does go.
Do you think he suits the system though? If he does stay?
Yeah, I think he can play that. There's no reason why he can't play that. You see how good a shape he keeps himself in. He's obsessed with it. So I know for a fact he's physically fit. So you're telling me he can't press a man? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stigma attached to that, as in, he's lazy, he don't press. But there was times last season under Rangnick where he was pressing, you know what I mean? And he was getting about the pitch. He drops back quite a lot. I don't know, but I just feel like it's getting to the point now where it's like I'm sick of reading it. I'm sick of hearing about it. And if he wants to go, then yeah, I've always been in the camp. If it don't matter who it is, just let him go.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how Pep Guardiola treats Man City as well. Even if it's any player, even if it's a star player that wants to go, he said the same thing about Bernardo Silva. I know he's not going now; he's staying at Man City. But if he wants to leave, he should go. Any player that wants to leave, if he's not 100% fully committed, they should go. And I'm in that camp as well. I believe that.
I'd like to see him go before his legacy gets tarnished, because if it gets to the point in the season, say if he he's on the bench for the next month, barely plays, when he's like refusing, if he starts refusing to play or he doesn't turn up and shit like that, you don't want it to get like that. We all still love him, I think. So
exactly. Well, this is what we was discussing on Instagram Live last night when it had done. We were saying there'll be this kind of side narrative that the kind of Pogba effects that happened when he was there. There's constant stories about him, like rumours that would just distract the squad. Remember before that Leipzig game, his agent came out before it and was like, "Oh, he loves Madrid, or he wants to join Madrid." Something or Juventus. I can't remember which one it was. It was always like two different stories.
Even before the City game, where he probably had his best game in the United shirt, it was all that about like wanting to go to City.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So do you think that could be a reoccurring theme if Ronaldo stays?
Well, the thing is, I don't think it might, because you see, he obviously put himself on the market very early on. Was it just in around July time? I think a month into the window.
Yeah.
Then there was constant stories, things coming out, but he's not as sought after as he thought he actually was. So there's this talk about Napoli going on right now, and are they really a step up? Honestly, is it a step up that he's taken? He's
just the Champions League thing, innit? That's all it is.
And I think it's a step down. Like, this is he's at a, let's be honest, one of the biggest clubs in the world right now. I know we're not in the Champions League itself, but he'll never play for another top club again. And I think I don't think he's actually going to leave. The more it goes on, I don't think he's going to leave. We've seen signs that his attitude is kind of improving now. Maybe he's realizing, okay, maybe I can't go anywhere because no one wants me. And the only reason I don't think he's in the team is because of everything going on right now. I think he would have been in Ten Hag's plans, in that I can't remember Haller really pressing that much. He wasn't really a presser of the ball. He could have been used to start role as well. So I think as the season goes on, he is going to be. We might see him a bit more, because I can imagine with Sancho and Anthony on the left and the right of him, I think he'd bag a lot of goals. I really do. But the more this talk goes on, I think it is kind of tarnishing. But we'll see now. Thursday, I think he's still going to be there. He's going to be in the squad.
I mean, it's going to be interesting these next couple of days. The developments are going to happen. You never know with deadline day and the transfer market towards the very end. Mad shit's happened before. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Cristiano Ronaldo. I want to move it on. Go on.
I do think there is some weight to what Adam said about maybe just keeping him out, because obviously it's a lot going on. It's a new story every day. So maybe Ten Hag just said to him, "Listen, we'll get this out of the way, and then we'll get you back into the team. We'll get you back into the system." Like, people don't think about it. People see Ronaldo on the bench and think, "Oh, it's all he don't want to play, or he wants to go, or Ten Hag don't want him no more." Maybe it's just as simple as, "Yeah, we'll keep you out for a bit, let that pass, and then we'll focus on your football."
So you used to, if it was a yes or no gun to your head situation, Ronaldo stays?
I think he stays. Maybe it's not what I want in particular, but I think he'll stay.
Okay.
See, I want him to stay, and I'm
you just want the pie in, don't you?
Nah, I'd rather say Ronaldo. I do want him to stay, and like you say, I don't think Napoli's a massive step up. He's not on a bigger stage. The only bigger stages to us really are Barca, Madrid, could argue Bayern. I don't think there's a bigger stage than Old Trafford. But if I'm leaning now towards something's probably going to happen, so I think he'll go. I don't want him to, but he'll go.
Yeah, I think he'll go as well. Let's move it on then to another forward. A lot of attacking talk here, and this is about Gakpo, who we mentioned before. PSV, and this is from Rob Dorset's guys. PSV are holding out for 25 mil for Cody Gakpo. They've rejected a 21 million pound bid from Southampton. Gakpo is keen on a move to the Premier League and was disappointed when Manchester United withdrew their interest to focus on Antony. Very cheap price. Why the fuck are we not in for him? 25 million to me is an absolute steal. I don't have a clue why we would not go buy. Well, I do know why. We got false promises after that Brentford game, after we got absolutely smashed. They put it out there straight away. Oh, we're gonna sign a right back, centre mid, another centre mid. All these players, Gakpo as well as Antony. Spin. We end up obviously getting the Antony deal done, and now it's all cooling interest. What do you think is going on with this Gakpo deal? Do you see him going to the Prem, Adam? Do you see him staying at PSV? Do you see him United signing him possibly?
If we don't sign him, I think Southampton will up the offer, and then we'll probably sign him for 80 million in 3 years' time. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think we should be on it like beans on toast, honestly, because it's an absolute steal. Did he get Dutch Player of the Year, or kind of like the League Player of the Year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he's absolutely he is up there with one of the best talents from the league. I just can't get over the price. I thought it was like 35 million pounds at least. I think that was the talk, but they want 25 million. Why are we not doing this? Because I know we have a lot of kind of wingers anyway, but he can play through the middle as well, from what I've seen and heard. He got double figures, was it, in goals and assists last year?
Yep.
Plus 10 plus goals and assists. I don't know why we're not doing it. It's stupidity for me.
23 years old, Aaron. 25 goal involvements in 27 games. Do you think he'll get snapped up by someone else if we don't go in for him?
Yeah, I could see him going Southampton, to be honest. I think that's where he'll actually end up now. But I was thinking, is last season his only like major good season? Until last season, had we really heard of it?
Well, I think it was the same with Darwin Núñez. Darwin Núñez had one good season, signed for Liverpool now, looks pretty good.
That's what I mean. So in some ways, I don't think him going Southampton's that bad, because say he has a good season again, yeah, his price is going to be higher, but you're getting an established player. Not to go back to him again, but when we sign Memphis.
We're gonna need a fucking Memphis jar and put a quid in it every time Aaron says Memphis.
But it's kind of the same thing. He had one standout season. Well, I think he got like player of the league, and we snapped him up, and he wasn't up to much. So maybe go to Southampton, establish yourself as a player, work out what sort of player you are, use it as a stepping stone club, and yeah, maybe we pay double the price, but we know you're getting an established player. And just with a lot of wingers that we've got now, and I don't really feel like we need many more wingers. Is he going to get the chance to push on at United, like as he would at Southampton, where he's going to play near enough every game?
Yeah, I suppose that's a good point. For me, it's just when I look at Ilanga, I don't mind the lad at all, but I just think he's very limited. I think his first touch isn't great, and his decision making isn't great at times. Marcus Rashford, as we know, has a lot of dips in form. You never know what you're going to get from him at the minute. I hope he kicks on and continues to play as well as he has been doing, but you never know with that. And the only really main starters you're looking at now is Sancho and Antony, potentially. So bringing Gakpo in, who can play multiple positions. You look at City, Mahrez, Foden, Bernardo Silva, fucking Haaland, other players who can play that in them wide areas as well. They've got world-class cover everywhere. If we get an injury to Sancho, it's bring Ilanga in. If we get an injury to Antony, it's bring Sancho in. That's my only worry. But I suppose we need depth in all areas, don't we? So that's another topic for another day. Yeah, we'll finish off on Gakpo because I don't want to don't want to stay on that for too long. I want to move it on to Rafa Varane. This is coming out from the Telegraph, James Ducker, and it says, Rafael Varane's camp were concerned Ten Hag was not sold on the player during pre-season when he was sent on an individual training program. It was a weird one because pre-season, we didn't see much of Varane at all, and we thought his legs maybe starting to crumble. He was getting a lot of injuries last season. people were getting frustrated because I think he's our best centre back, but he was never fit to be in the team. So it had a massive effect on us. We couldn't get consistency out of him at all. But since he's come back into the team with Lisandro Martinez, he's been an absolute breath of fresh air. And the question I want to pose to you, Adam, where would you rank Varane if he stays fully fit? Where would you rank him amongst current Premier League centre backs?
I'd probably put him up there with the likes of Van Dijk and Diaz.
Oh,
I think
wow.
he's up there with the best. If he stayed consistent, like fitness wise and away from injuries, he'd be up there with the best. I think he'd be in the team of the year as well. He's won it all. He knows what's expected at a top club, and even at Madrid, everyone regarded him as one of the best centre backs in the world. He came to us last year, so and he was injured for a lot of it, but whenever he played, I think we only lost was a one game with him starting. It could be like that, but we were never smacked, and we were smacked every other week he wasn't playing. So, like, he's our best defender, hands down. And I think he's one of the top in Europe. It's why he's playing for the world champions consistently in their team. Well, he probably will start, let's be honest, for France. And France have a lot of talented defenders as well, and he's always starting there. And I think he up there with one of, even if he's not the vice captain, he's the vice captain's backup. I think so. He is in line for the French captaincy as well. So he's a leader. He's quick. That's one thing I like about him. He's strong. He's well timed at tackling. He's a different style of centre back compared to the other two that I mentioned, Van Dijk and Diaz. But for me, he's our best centre back anyway, and I think top three in the league definitely. You could argue maybe definitely probably top 7, I'd say, in Europe.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Prem. I think Thiago Silva's still phenomenal. Still very good centre back. Ruben Diaz, as you mentioned, very good. Van Dijk, too early for the likes of Koulibaly and all these guys. And Rudiger was one of my favourites as well when he was in the Prem, but obviously he's moved to Real Madrid now. Just looking at Varane in particular, Aaron, do you think he's been a success for us? Or do you think maybe it isn't another kind of question to ask? By the time he leaves, will we look back at Varane's time and be like, we've done what we expected of him?
The way you worded it first time, has he been a success? I'll probably have to say no, because last season he didn't really play much. But by the time he leaves, he will be, definitely. Like you were saying there, he's a different type of centre back. He's like a Rolls Royce. He's like a bit of like a Rio Ferdinand. He's just smooth. Like, you've got Lisandro to do the dirty work, and Varane will just clean up.
Silk and Steel 2.0. You heard it here first on Real Reds. Silk and Steel 2.0. They're perfect. They blend together so well. They've got different qualities, but they're both really elite level, but they've both got really complement each other on the pitch.
And that's
really
what made Rio and Vidic so good.
So I call Martinez the brulee, and then Varane is the creme.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, I think he'll definitely be a success. If he stays fit, there's no doubt in it. The man's CV speaks for itself. Like, there's no way you would have been involved in them Champions League teams if he wasn't good enough, especially with the standard of play that they had. So I don't have any doubts about him. His fitness, like last season, we were kind of thinking, we've been sold a dud here. Like, is he finished? Like, his legs, but if he stays fit, 100% success.
Well, he was playing next to Maguire, in fairness to him, a lot, which, as we've seen with a lot of players, hinders him. This isn't just me targeting Harry Maguire, but we've seen it with so many players who played next to him. They're worried about him behind. They're worried about his pace. And as a defender, you want to be settled and you want to be confident going into a game. If you've got a bit of a clown next to you, you're not going to perform as well, naturally. So in his case, there's a bit of fairness to him there. Just the last question on Rafa Varane. If he stays fit with Lisandro next to him, obviously now Casemiro coming into the fold, who he's played with before, to sit in front of him, do you think that could potentially then push us back up to the Champions League spots? And maybe it'd be easier to deal with a variety of threats when we're coming up against maybe target men or runners in behind like Jamie Vardy, who we're going to play on Thursday night? That's a question for you. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, I think it's by far our best centre back combination anywhere. It should be for the rest of the season anyway. We've seen an instant improvement. I think many fans were calling for it for a long time, and I think it's a bit of a cockiness thing from I suppose like the coaches, whoever come in, they think they can improve the current players. But Ten Hag's a quick learner, and he knows he can't trust them players. So he plays the players that he actually trusts, and it's actually paying off so far. 2 wins on the bounce, and I hope on Thursday to see the pretty much near the same team that we've seen the last two
Yeah.
games. Hopefully, it's not as bad as. But who were we playing last time? It's gone out of my head. It
Southampton.
was Southampton because it was. I watched it back too. It was awful for the most part,
Dreadful,
and
wasn't it?
yeah, dreadful. I can't believe the lads even done a watch along for that. Like, I feel bad for them.
I said that to him as well. That was a tough watch. That even the highlights, I was like, "Fucking hell, this is absolutely shit."
I think we're meeting Leicester at a good time though. We're meeting they're desperate for points, and the manager is desperate to get points on the board too, because we've seen what clubs have already done with a certain manager. Scott Parker getting sacked, and he
Yeah.
lost, was it 3 out of the, who did he lose against? Was it City,
Well, they beat
Liverpool, and
Villa.
Arsenal?
Yeah, beat Villa, lost to Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. I think it was.
Yeah.
They sacked him.
And can you imagine getting sacked then? Like, you'd expect to lose them, especially on the amount they paid. But I said it for a while. I thought Brendan Rodgers could have been one of the first to go, and that's why I think they're going to play quite attacking. So it might work to our advantage as well. They'll
Yeah,
be quite open, will they?
we call Bournemouth Butlins FC. Already, they just remind me of like a proper fucking family club. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit sad there for Scott Parker, but it's not United, is it? So fuck it if they've sacked Scott Parker.
On the Casemiro, Varane and Martinez point, I think if they get a good chemistry and they give us a good backbone, they'll definitely push us up the table. There's a saying in basketball that attacks win games, defense win championships, and that, I think that does go into sport. So yeah, I think if we go by that, they're definitely going to put. I'm not saying we're going to win the league. I'm not saying second or whatever, but Champions League spot, they could. There'll be the difference between like a last ditch tackle or goal line clearance, not Harry Maguire passing the ball to him or whatever.
Yeah,
Passing into his own net.
And yeah, we've got Leicester this Thursday as well. And when I went back and did a show last season, Aaron, of all of Harry Maguire's mistakes, it was 18 individual mistakes that he made for an opposition to score, and one of them was against Leicester, where De Gea passed it out to him. He dawdles about on it for ages, tries passing it back. Iheanacho intercepts, gives it Tielemans, and Tielemans scores that wheel there in the top left corner. Yeah,
someone like Vardy or someone with his pace, you take too long on the ball or play a misplaced pass, game over.
And
finally, Gabriel there last weekend as well. He thought he had time on the ball, didn't, and it got picked by, of all players, Mitrovic. Not really the fastest, but yeah, you got to watch. If you're starting Harry Maguire, I think Jamie Vardy would have him on the floor just like that, as fast.
Definitely, 100%. And your thingy, Adam, your analogy that you like to use, you say United's got a few slip discs in the spine.
Yeah.
We've actually replaced a couple, so long may that continue. Sticking with the defence, I want to talk about Wan-Bissaka, lads. Crystal Palace have approached, but there's no agreements in place. If Wan-Bissaka does not leave before this week's deadline, United will not make a last-minute right-back signing. And that's from Fabrizio Romano. But you've heard conflicting reports from Sky Sports who have said that we're going to go in for Serginho Dest and then loan Wan-Bissaka out to West Ham, I think it was, or Southampton. It's just funny how we've gone from all the signings we were going to make after the Brentford game, 7 signings, I think it was, now to this, where it's like, oh, no, you need to say this, you need to do that. Does this make sense to anyone? Because apparently we don't want to let him go, but Ten Hag has sanctioned it that he can go. Why would we not take money for him? It doesn't make sense to me at all.
Doesn't make if he's one of the. Sorry, I just see him as one of the few players that we could actually get money for, at least over 20 million, because he is relatively young still, and I think he'd do good at a club like that as well. I think his time at a top club like us, it happened. It was a failure. I think we should just cut our losses and even take half the money. Like, I think, was there offers like, surely you can get 20 million from him at least. Like,
That's what I was
he's
thinking.
Get
young.
15.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
snap their hands off.
how much would you let him go for price wise? Like if you came in and you saw, see, you got a notification now from Romano, right? And it says, Wan-Bissaka, here we go. Boom, this is how much he's gone for. What's the least you would take for him?
I'd say 20.
15.
Yeah. 15, I think that'd be a bargain for someone. If I'm someone like a Nottingham Forest or someone like that who they lost Spence, won it to Tottenham. I think Tottenham bought it. I'd replace him with Wan-Bissaka because defensively it does a job. Like people sometimes forget. I know he's very limited, but the games he put in against Sterling, every time he played City, he pocketed Sterling and he played really well against Mbappe. Let's face it, he basically pocketed him as well. So he's had two of Europe's elite attackers in his pocket. It's just going forward, as we know. But if you're a team who's been newly promoted, you're going to be defending a lot. You're not going to have a lot of possession. I think he'd be a good addition, and I'd go for him 20 million.
Well, he excelled in a team that played boring football and that would peg back for what 80 minutes. So for a lower team, yeah, but then that's where the price tag comes in because their argument's going to be that he's not really played much football recently. He's coming off probably a bad season, or it's not really worked at United, so they're not going to pay over the odds. I think 15 million is probably a fair price because we well overpaid for him.
Yeah, 50 million is mental, in it. Absolutely mental.
But the reason I think they don't want to let him go is because I don't think we actually have a right back target. I honestly don't. I think now Dest's just being linked because
700 to Aaron.
Yeah, that's it.
We're 700 on the list.
and the one that we picked, and now he's talking of getting rid of. So
I look at deals that like what City did for Cancelo. They sent Danilo the other way and spent 30 mil on him. One of the best, if not the best, wing back in world football right now. Obviously, Trent came up through like an academy, didn't he, with Liverpool, and I think Reece James had a similar kind of thing with Chelsea. But there are deals out there. You can go find these kind of right backs. Mazraoui, did Bayern Munich sign Mazraoui from Ajax?
Yeah.
These kind of guys. Dumfries is another player I really like. Inter Milan.
We haven't got him.
I don't get it.
He was apparently they were saying like 25 million for Dumfries.
Yeah. Like, even if you sell Wan-Bissaka for 15, Dumfries is a very good replacement and offers something different as well. And I remember when Inter Milan bought him for like 10 mil and sold Hakimi for 70, and I was like, well, that's one of the best bits of business I've ever seen because they've made 60 mil profit, but then Dumfries is a very good attacking wing back. So, yeah, I don't get why we haven't gone in for someone like that. But I just want to dive into some comments if we've Thinger.
I was going to say that, Dave, and you love in the comments.
Yeah, I'm just having a look now. Is De Jong coming from Andrew Kaliko? We'll have to wait and see. You never know. Anything can happen in the transfer window. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe Memphis Depay and De Long. Okay. Ever thought that, lads? Crystal Palace one player. Crystal Palace one player as well. Also Barcelona one Aaron as well. Yeah, the Wan-Bissaka. The Wan-Bissaka thing about Barcelona.
Me then. I was going to say I'll go.
Yeah, I'm going to do a better job than Wan-Bissaka as well. But the Wan-Bissaka Barcelona thing, it's just we've spoken about this so many times. I don't want to stay on it, but it does not make sense whatsoever. I can't see Xavi looking at Wan-Bissaka and going, "Yeah, he'll fit the system."
Would you take what if you sent Wan-Bissaka there and gave him a bit of money? Would you take Kyle Walker-Peters?
I don't mind him. I don't mind Kyle Walker-Peters at all. I do feel like it's a bit of an Ollie signing, though, like that Brexit FC kind of thing. That's the only thing with it. I like him for Southampton. Looks like a good player, but it's whether Ten Hag would want him. I don't know if Ten Hag would want him. I'm not entirely sure because he's all right on the ball. He's not amazing, but it's more his off the ball I like of him. He's very quick. He's astute in his defending. I don't know if Ten Hag would want him. That's the only thing that
he's always been one of them players where I thought, yeah, he's all right, but I've never really took much notice to him. And one of the lads that come round to watch the match at mine, they said, like, at the start of the game, yeah, I rate him, I'd have him at United. So I kind of watched him a bit more, and I thought, do you know what? He'd actually do the job.
Yeah, he's all right. He's not bad, and as we know with Southampton, they always produce talent, a lot of talent, don't they? They've got like a conveyor belt themselves. Right, let's move on to the mega massive story, the blockbuster of stories. Is Martin Dubravka is set to undergo medical test in the next 24 hours to complete his Man United move. That again is from Fabrizio Romano. We discussed this last night, lads. A question I wanted to throw to you on this one: if he puts in enough good performances like Romero did for us in the Europa League, do you think he could get a crack at number one, or is this purely just a secondary keeper signing?
I think maybe it's a little reactionary. I know De Gea hasn't had the best of starts, but I thought in the last 2 games he's kind of come into his own. So I find it harsh if you were to drop him right now.
Oh, no, I don't mean
But
drop. I don't mean drop. I mean, like, do you think with it, from what you've seen from Dubravka, do you think he could maybe potentially push into that, or do you think it's just a secondary signing?
I think it's mainly just a secondary signing, if I'm being honest, because you can't have Tom Heaton as a second choice. Let's be honest. Like,
Terrible,
you're going
innit?
to start Tom Heaton in those Europa League games. Europa League could be a way to get back into the Champions League, and if I'm being honest as well, I'd much prefer to go down that road. You actually win something. You
Yeah.
win an actual trophy, a major honor. And Tom Heaton isn't that goalkeeper. We've seen Romero at the time really pulled off some great saves in that run to actually winning it. And I think Mourinho actually kept them in nets for the final too as well against who it was Ajax, wasn't it? I think in Stockholm, yeah, in 2016. But Romero in the run to the final as well under Ollie. Ollie then dropped them in the final.
I don't
And
get why
De
we.
Gea,
Remember that.
I don't
yeah.
get why we did that, and I don't get why we let Romero go either. Never made sense to me. I've argued so many times on this. Why we let? He wanted to stay. He was happy to play number two. He was one of the best number twos in the league. Every time he played really well. It just, I look at it and think that's just
For me, I
stupid.
thought he was the best number 2 in the world
He's
Yeah.
definitely up
at
there.
the time.
Yeah, definitely up there. And look, that's not the best badge you want to have as a keeper, best number two in the world. It's kind of a bit like a stab in the ribs at the same time. But he was, every time he performed for Manchester United, whether it was a cup game or Europa League, he always performed really well. And then when we let him go, it didn't make sense to me. But even signing Dubravka now, it seemed like we wanted Kevin Trapp. We went in for him, and then something happened there. It might have been too much, or he wanted too much wages. We wanted Jan Sommer from Gladbach. That was another deal that was hard to negotiate. And then we end up with Dubravka, who just was like third choice. And it's just like, again, Ten Hag not getting another priority signing. Just give me a one-word answer on Dubravka, Aaron.
In
One
terms
word.
of,
Just one word to describe the deal. What springs to mind?
I'm not going to go one word, but I don't actually think it's that bad of a signing, you know. I honestly don't.
Okay.
I think we'll just jump into he's from Newcastle, kind of, you know, if you go in and look at his stats, he's not that bad. Like, you compare him to De Gea's last season, they're pretty much identical. Honestly, I've had a look at him, and the only difference is the Bradford had better kicking.
Yeah, better distribution, which is a lot of people are going to jump at that, aren't they?
His shot stopping's good. His clean sheets, they have the same amount of clean sheets in the Prem. So for me, I don't think he's that bad of a player. Whether he's going to go on and be the number one, I don't know. And when you compare him to, like you say, like Jan Sommer, but it's like, I think it's just the money that De Gea's on, that Store's getting another keeper. Because how are you going to buy Jan Sommer, who's probably going to come in on decent wages?
Yeah.
And then not guarantee him number one spot. And then if you drop De Gea and you're paying him all in wages, I think giving De Gea that much money is kind of cemented him for, we don't have another choice but to play him as number one.
Did we give him that contract under Ole? That 375k? Must have been, right?
He's been on it for a while now, though.
Yeah, but he's got, I think he got an extension recently, but it was only like a year, just like an extra year on the deal. But I'm sure under Ole it got a big boost or a big bump. It may have been Mourinho, but even regardless, 375k is fucking ridiculous for a keeper. I don't think any keeper should be paid that, even the best in the world. I think it's fucking stupid. Anyway, let's move on to the last story. Ralph Ragnick's been talking to the media, lads. He said it would not have taken United 6 months to do that. After just 2 weeks, it was clear to me where the problems were and what would have been done to fix them. But the question is whether you have the opinion of changing these things, the option of changing these things, sorry. I have to say, Rangnick, for me, is exactly what Manchester United needed when he came in. Not in terms of his coaching and stuff, because obviously it didn't go great on the pitch, but he exposed every single problem at Manchester United. And there was that much out there that I know we knew as fans there was issues at the club, but he exposed it to the whole world and was like, they need to do this needs to happen, they need to bring these players in. And the club didn't like him basically, and just kicked him out. I think we could have built something great if he stayed. I know there was conflicting reports about Ten Hag wanted to build his own kind of philosophy and all this kind of stuff. Do you think it was more the board who pushed Rangnick out, or do you think it was the clash with Ten Hag?
I think it was the board. I think he was gunning for a lot of their jobs as well, and he would have, if he had a position of power or say in the club, he probably would have brought in people who were better and not out of their depth. Let's be honest. I was watching a Sky Sports interview there with Melissa Reddy, and she was talking about, I think it's 100 days now Ten Hag is being with us, and she was talking about we don't have the best people on board level if we want to progress as a club, and that we've known it for so long. And let's be honest, Ralph did too. He said you have to have the best people working behind the scenes, and I say the people who had that he was kind of, going taking shots at. I think they kind of saw that and they were getting a bit sweating because they're getting a nice wee paycheck there for doing absolutely fuck all, let's be honest. And they knew that their position was a threat. And I think they voted then to just kick him out. And it caused a lot of hassle behind the scenes. I think that's why we offered Ten Hag one of the roles and kind of like signing off on certain names if players were to come in. That was one of the things he wanted, and that's what we're going to use Rangnick for, kind of building the squad, getting deals kind of over the line as well, identifying targets. From he knows a lot of people, a lot of scouts around Europe too, because he worked with the Red Bull group, and we know how well they're ran. They're run one of the best run clubs in there. I liked their whole system. They ended up getting the Cisco was there for cheap because they sold to someone in the same kind of.
Did you just say Cisco?
Yeah, I did. Cisco.
Cisco's the one who sang that song.
Yes.
Let me see that door. What a classic.
Well, we got the edit anyway for the.
Yeah,
TikTok.
that's the clip. That's the clip. Yeah, you mentioned that Melissa Reddy there as well. I'm sorry, Melissa, but her voice is fucking grinding. I cannot listen to. Honestly, it's painful to listen. I want James Cooper back. Where's James Cooper at? He was a great correspondent for Manchester United. It's not a hate club on Melissa Reddy, but yeah, I miss James Cooper.
Yeah, she are a correspondent now, is she?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, isn't she a Liverpool fan? She worked under Liverpool for a long time.
Probably. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, the last thing on Rangnick, Aaron, do you think he regrets going to Manchester United now, looking back at everything? Because it's been a fucking torrid time for him, hasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if he does regret it, to be honest, because obviously he hadn't been managing for a while. And then after that, he piggybacked onto the Austria job. Did it just bring him back into a bit of relevancy? I'm not saying he was irrelevant, but he was more upstairs, wasn't he?
Yeah, in terms of coaching.
Yeah. I think his coaching days were kind of behind him. So, but that just shows how incompetent we are again. Because for me, we would have not put him in a coaching role. We'd have put him up in director of football, got a manager in, not thrown away the season in November. But I don't know. I don't think he regrets it. I feel like for him, that would have been a big job as a coach. Kind of feel like he felt he would have achieved something by managing United. And I think it did give him the pathway to the Austria job. So, I don't think he's regretted it. And he's come out and put a load of home truths out. So,
if you look at the players as well, who he was linking us with Julian Alvarez. City have just going to sign him. Akanji as well from Dortmund. Man City have just signed him as well. Nkunku, who's linked with, who I think's a fabulous player, now signed a new contract and he's got like 100 mil release clause or something ridiculous. Or maybe I think it might be 80 or something like that. All these players, I think he would have done good for us. I really do if he would have stayed. And I'm gutted he left. I said that at the time. He spoke absolute wisdom at United, and we really needed it at a time where Ollie sugarcoated a lot of shit, and the media sugarcoated a lot of shit, and even the media didn't like Rangnick. They were pushing him for questions.
Yeah, they were trying to make out he was like some fucking League One coach or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh well, he's only built clubs. He's not really coached. He's only won this or whatever. Blah blah blah. And it's just like, come on, man. You've got these managers currently at the time in the Prem, like Tuchel, Klopp, these monsters of managers. Even Hassel, he's pretty much coached him into being like he knows his shit when it comes to football. And it was always just this narrative of him being like a fucking PE teacher, basically, and it was just bullshit. I thought it was absolutely
it's like
crap.
do you remember when we faced Schalke in the Champions League, and it was like Neuer and that in there? It was Rangnick that was manager then. Rangnick built that team.
Raul up top as well, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, he definitely deserves some more respect, and he could be a massive part of why we're successful because of what he did in that kind of 6-month period, exposing stuff. So yeah, I'll always be a fan of Rangnick, and I hope he does well in his future career with Austria and stuff. Yeah, that concludes the show, lads. Thank you for watching, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell, because we could be going live literally at any point. There's 2 days left of the window, so transfers, especially Manchester United, we could be running around.
Memphis signs.
Yeah. Well, Aaron will have his fucking champagne ready when we sign Memphis. But we're probably currently running around looking for the next Igalo or Cavani. So you never know what's going to happen with United, and we'll definitely go live for it if it does happen. It's always full of surprises, and you don't want to miss it. Tomorrow we have the Leicester preview at 6:30, so make sure you tune in for that. Me, Sam, and Severe will be discussing the upcoming fixtures, giving our team predictions, score predictions, and all that kind of jazz. So join us for that. And follow us on socials to keep up to date with everything surrounding Manchester United, including regular updates, content schedules, and funny clips. So, yeah, thank you for joining me, lads. Thank you to everyone taking time out your day to join us, whoever's joining currently or watching later on. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, lads.
Peace and love.
See you in a bit, guys.